What's going on, everyone? Happy Sunday to everyone. Hopefully everyone is doing well, staying safe, healthy. If you had to take a COVID test, hopefully you have tested negative. If you did test positive, I hope you have a full and speedy recovery with no long COVID issues. It is time now for the Sunday edition of the Pandemic Update for Sunday, May 5th, 2024. If you're new to my channel, welcome to my channel. This is where we do the daily pandemic update on all things COVID and any other virus that could be a health threat to you. Let's face it, there are a lot of viruses out there that can potentially cause problems for you. And this is where we discuss them to keep you informed and safe with what is going on. So subscribe down below if you're new. Give this video a thumbs up if you like what you see. Let's try for 100 likes today. We hit that yesterday. If you have anything to comment on, maybe something that you see during this update, or anything you would like to say, leave a comment down below, and of course, share this with anyone you know. Now, normally on Sundays, we would do the wastewater update. We are going to do the wastewater update. However, I did find quite a few news stories last night, and we're going to take a look at just a few of them. Some of them which I think are rather important that we do need to report on today, rather than hold off until tomorrow when I'll probably find even more news stories. First off, starting off in the Philippines. Measles, rubella cases are up 39%. Yes, this is relatively concerning. Manila, Philippines, the Department of Health recorded over 2,000 cases of measles and rubella nationwide. Latest data from the Department of Health showed that 2,264 cases were reported as of April 27th, an increase of 39% compared to 1,627 recorded on April 6th. So that is not good. Then we move on to this now over in Italy. This is COVID infections and deaths on the rise in the last week. From April 25th to May 1st, new cases, 618. That's up by 17%. Reinfection data was not available here. Deaths, 9. That's up by 28.6%. The positivity rate is 0.8%. That's up by 0.3%. Hospitalizations, though, are down at this time by 4.9%. 542 people in the hospital, 18 people in the ICU, and their ICU number is down by 5.2%. Now taking a look at this. There is an increase in Mpox cases that's going on in New York. This is rather interesting and concerning. New York has been reporting a substantial increase in cases since January. In New York City alone, cases went from roughly 20 per month in 2023 to 51 cases in the first month of the new year. So, 51 cases in the first month year. That's relatively concerning. And now moving on to this is up in Canada. Hamilton Public Health reports 4 cases of measles. So, measles cases, they are still a thing up in Canada, and it is still an issue. Drum roll, please. We have to refresh today's pollen map, and some good news. Only 26% of the country today is in medium or higher status for pollen levels today, but you can see here there's quite a bit of red that's ongoing in the upper Midwest and the northern plains. Some red up in northern Maine as well. Northern Maine not really seeing the rain that we are seeing down here in the mid-Atlantic. Our pollen levels are not all that bad today because, well, it's raining outside. We've had almost half an inch of rain here so far in Philadelphia. Taking a look at what's going on with the air quality values today, and I do want to zoom this out as it refreshes. Hopefully it does come up, and you can see on the West Coast, not too bad, just a few minor problem spots in California, but not as many as we have been seeing. Cleveland, Ohio, it seems to be a hot spot right now. Take a look at this. You can see there is some orange there, there's some yellows in Pittsburgh, also some yellows ongoing in the southeast. Not too bad today in the mid-Atlantic region. Again, like I said, it is raining here today, so that does kind of cleanse the atmosphere. Taking a look at EMS calls in Philadelphia, and I know that is not today's number that we need to see. Here is the number that we need to see, and this is some good news. Finally, a day below 800. 741 EMS incidents were reported yesterday for Saturday in Philadelphia. So some much needed good news. Let's do a live looking at what's going on in Montgomery County, Pennsylvania right now. And we can see there are some calls, 12 calls right now. I'm seeing hemorrhaging a couple times. I'm seeing a few respiratory calls and a few cardiac emergency calls. That's not good. Chester County, Pennsylvania definitely does have a few calls right now. If you notice, I had to refresh that. And, yep, they still do have a few calls. A couple respiratory difficulty call, unconscious person, diabetic emergency, hemorrhaging, syncope, EMS standby. That means they're standing by for an event. All right, moving on now to the wastewater update. Here we go. We're just going to go region by region. We'll take a look at a few individual wastewater sites on both Wastewater Scan and on the CDC website. Starting off with BioBot first. And I have to refresh this just to make sure that it's up to date. I think it is. Yes. At BioBot, all regions of the United States are dropping at this time. We're not seeing increases in any regions of the United States. We'll have to see if that holds in the week going forward. And this is for COVID. You can see West Coast is dropping. South, Midwest, and the Northeast is dropping at this time. Some more good news comes from the CDC. And I mentioned this on Friday, and I'll do a bit more detailed look at this now. So this is the CDC map for wastewater. We have a bunch of colors on the right. One that is not on the right, which is gray sites. Those are sites that haven't updated. Any site in white, there's 19 of them. They're new sites, or a site that's maybe reappearing. Any site that is in the dark blue shade, 0 to 19% COVID detected. That's really low levels of COVID. That is now up to 618 sites. That's the most we've seen for that in a very long time. That is a good thing. That's one number. We don't care if that number goes up because it signals that there are either no COVID detected or very low levels of COVID being detected. Then comes 20 to 39% COVID detected. That's a little bit higher. That's 436 sites. Then we come up to this dark shade of blue, or excuse me, this really light shade of blue, not dark, but light shade of blue. 40 to 59% COVID detected. Yes, you're getting into the moderate range now. Still 102 sites there. And orange, this is definitely moderate, 60 to 79% COVID detected. And there's still 17 sites with that. Really good news? The red, that's the highest level of COVID detected, 80 to 100%. There's only one site left that is showing that, and it is in Missouri. In Locklead, Missouri. I hope I'm saying that correctly. Correct me down below if I am saying that incorrectly. And that one red site, they are actually rising at this time. Only 15,000 population. So it's something that we'll have to watch. But again, it's the only red site in the entire country now. We'll come back to this map in a moment. Take a look at this now. We do only have one area in the United States that's reporting high levels of COVID, and it's Oklahoma. Why is it concerning that Oklahoma is reporting high levels? Well, there's multiple reasons. Number one, they do lead the way with the highest level of cases that go on to become long COVID cases. And plus, surrounding areas are not reporting high levels. So that's relatively interesting. When you have areas like Texas, which is minimal, low over in Arkansas, low in Missouri, minimal in Kansas, not being detected, well, actually no, minimal in Colorado and low in New Mexico, but then you have somewhere high in between, you start wondering, okay, why is the levels in Oklahoma high but nowhere else? Is something locally happening in Oklahoma? I don't know. I will be keeping my eyes out. Everywhere else across the country is either low or minimal at this time. I'm not seeing anywhere that's reporting moderate levels. Once again, Hawaii. Actually, no, I stand corrected. Hawaii is also seeing high levels at this time, but we'll have to see what happens there. Only 8 wastewater sites there, and Oklahoma, by the way, currently reporting only has 7 sites. Now moving on to Wastewater Scan, and we will do the national level, Midwest, Northeast, Southwest, then a few sites here, and of course we'll take a look at a few of the CDC sites as well in areas that are not listed on Wastewater Scan. Again, we're not going to do every wastewater site. We're just going to give you a sense of what's happening in each region of the United States. So we may not get to every state. Taking a look here nationwide, we do see this. This is rather interesting. COVID, it's seen a slight rise at Wastewater Scan at this time, unlike what we were seeing with BioBot. So that's something we have to watch. And we do know, and I can pull it up here, that the FLIRT variants of COVID, KP.2, it is now up to 24.9%. So it shouldn't be too much of a surprise that we do see maybe just a small rise in wastewater at this time. RSV, Also, if you look really closely, ever so slight rise with that, and I have heard of some RSV cases still being out there. Medium for influenza A, slight rise in that once again. Influenza B is also seen a slight rise, which, to be honest with you, I am hearing about people testing positive for influenza. And if you saw my update yesterday, Nick Jonas of the Jonas Brothers does currently have influenza A, or so he says. We don't know if he actually had a test for it, but that's what he's saying. He's saying that he has influenza A, HMPV, and there's actually a little rise in that, but some good news. Norovirus at this time is starting to see a drop and cannot see Mpox or anything else on these regional or national levels. Taking a look at the Midwest next, and in the Midwest we can see here that the Midwest is dropping for COVID. RSV is also dropping. Influenza A is dropping. Influenza B is dropping. Taking a look at HMPV, it still says high levels. That is dropping. Also high for norovirus, and I would agree with that. It is still hot, moderate to high, but dropping at this time. And now moving on to another region. Let's move over to the Northeast. Taking a look at the Northeast on a regional level, we can see here there is an ever so slight rise for COVID, which would make sense. KP.2 is likely highest in value in the Northeast at this time, because oftentimes the Northeast is the first to see the rise of a new variant. And taking a look at RSV, RSV continues to drop. Influenza A is dropping. Influenza B, what's going on here? There is just a sudden, rapid increase in influenza B. We'll have to see if that holds on the next update. Maybe that's just an error, or maybe it continues higher. We'll have to see if that corrects. Look at this, HMPV, norovirus seeing it as well. So there definitely could be an error going on here. Either way, even if norovirus did not see that rise, it is still in the high category in the Northeast. All right, moving on now to the South. And in the South, we do find that COVID levels, they are starting to rise. Once again, as is RSV, influenza A is seeing a little increase. Influenza B has seen a bit more of an increase. That's concerning. HMPV was dropping. One update says it's rising. We'll have to see if that's actually the case. And norovirus, it's still moderate to high. It's not really dropping or rising at this point. It's kind of leveled off. It had a little bit of a rise, then it dropped a little bit. And now moving on to the West Coast, then we'll take a look at some individual wastewater sites. You can see in the West, COVID, it's flat at this time. RSV is not moving at this time. Influenza A is starting to see an increase here. And what's interesting with this one is it's saying medium levels, but this is not just one update like what we're seeing in the other regions of the United States. This is multiple updates. So it's possible you are definitely seeing a rise at this time. Influenza B is dropping. Norovirus, it's saying high, but we'll call this low to moderate at this time. Not really dropping that much either. HMPV is starting to drop. All right, let's take a look at some individual wastewater sites. Let's go up to the Northeast. Let's see what's going on in Boston, Massachusetts. And in Boston, we find that COVID levels are dropping. They are in the medium level at this time. RSV is low. That's not rising. It's very low at this time. Influenza A, not much of a big deal. And influenza B is not much of a big deal either. Remember, and I should have said this earlier, sometimes these calculations of what's low, medium, or high doesn't always update. We may sometimes find a level that's down near zero, or a very low number, and it's still listed as high. I don't know why it does that. I guess it just lags in updating. I'm not certain. HMPV is dropping at this time. Norovirus, though it is seeing a slight drop, is still moderate to high at this time. I would agree with the high. Look at this. There's still over 60,000 pathogens, no detections of Mpox, and just a few detections of hepatitis A at this time. Let's go down to North Jersey and see what's going on there. Newark. This is a very big wastewater site, as was the last one. This one's 1.5 million population. COVID at this time is flat, and RSV is dropping at this time. Influenza A is flat. Influenza B is not much of an issue. Slight rise for HMPV and norovirus at this time, and there have been some detections of Mpox. Remember, we talked about New York City. Newark, New Jersey is just across the Hudson River. In New Jersey. So, I mean, yes, it is possible that you are seeing some Mpox cases at this time because you're so close, and there's a big commute between North Jersey and New York City. Also, a few detections of hepatitis A at this time. All right, let's go down to the south and see what's going on there. We will go down to Orlando. Let's go to Northwest Orange County. I believe this has a decent-sized population, 66,690 people. COVID is dropping at this time. RSV is low. Influenza A is low. Influenza B is low. HMPV is low. However, norovirus, the overall trajectory since March has been quite the uptrend, and you are seeing very high levels of norovirus at this time. Taking a look with Mpox, you do have a couple detections of that, and hepatitis A, there have been some detections as well. Now continuing out of Florida, northwest a little bit, let's go over to New Orleans and see what's going on there. Hopefully these wastewater sites will work today. They are working. Okay, here we go. Medium levels for COVID, it's saying, but again, this looks to be on the low side right now. RSV is low, influenza A is dropping, influenza B is flat at this time, HMPV is seeing a slight rise, norovirus is dropping at this time, Mpox, you have several detections of that. Hepatitis A, there are also some detections of that as well. Now we want to go back north. I want to do Chicago area. So in order to do that, we have to go back to the CDC website and see what's going on there. And hopefully, when we take a look at Cook County, which is Chicago area, hopefully we will see some dropping COVID levels. Here's a smaller Cook site, which at this time is flat at this time, but we want to see the bigger site. Here it is. Here's one of them. I believe there's two of them. 1.1 million population, and you are dropping at this time. Zooming in even further, here's the other one. And this site is dropping as well. So COVID levels in the Chicago area are starting to drop. Let's go over to Lake County, Indiana. Your levels are dropping for COVID as well. So this is some good news. Taking a look at what's going on in Ohio, Franklin County, Ohio. That's Columbus. You are seeing a slight increase for COVID at this time. 645,000 population. Hamilton County, Ohio. Not Hamilton, Canada. Remember, we talked about Hamilton earlier. But here's in Ohio, which is Cincinnati area. 143,000 population and flat at this time. Here's another site, 76,000 population, and that is flat at this time, to even dropping slightly as well. Oklahoma, we can take a look at Oklahoma, and we can see here that there are some small increases ongoing in Oklahoma, although Oklahoma City area at this time is seeing a drop right now. And taking a look at Texas, we will try for Texas this way. Dallas, Texas, no, not updating, not updating. Okay, guess we won't be able to see anything from Dallas area. Here we go, Harris County. You can see Harris County, Texas, small wastewater site is dropping at this time, and a whole bunch of sites there we're going on are dropping. Here's a really small site that leveled off. And here's Galveston, Texas. That's dropping at this time as well. All right, going back to the wastewater scan site, we're just going to do a couple more sites here. We'll do two in California. Let's go down to central region of Los Angeles, and we'll see what's going on here. Low for COVID, low for RSV, influenza A, influenza B, all low at this time. Taking a look here at HMPV, it says high, but look at this, the value is a very low number. Norovirus, it's saying medium. I disagree with that. I think that's a relatively low number. Mpox, there have been some detections. Hepatitis A have also had some detections. Doing one more wastewater site in California. Let's go on up to San Jose, shall we? Let's see what's going on there. I think this is a decent size wastewater site. Oh, wow, 1.5 million population. Take a look at this. COVID levels are low. RSV at this time is low. Influenza A is low. Influenza B. HMPV is low at this time. Norovirus, that is not much of a issue this time. It's just holding steady, a low to near moderate level. Mpox, there are some detections. 2, 4, 6 detections over the past couple months, and several detections of hepatitis A at this time. All right, going back to the CDC site real quickly, let's do New Mexico. Then I think we'll go up to Washington, and we'll call it a video. How about that? How does that sound? We'll do some more wastewater sites during the pandemic updates this week. Maricopa County, Arizona, 50,000 population. And look at this. Your COVID levels are dropping at this time. Now going up to Oregon. We want to do Oregon as well. And we can see here, Oregon is showing a lot of dark blue. That's really good. And just running through the wastewater sites here, your levels are dropping. Look at this. There's one, Douglas, 30,000 population. It is rising at this time. And taking a look at Washington, you can see a lot of these sites aren't updated, but Pierce King, this is a bigger wastewater site. 896,000 population. You're not in the dark blue yet, you will be soon, because you are continuing to drop at this time. Alrighty folks, that does it for the Sunday edition of the Pandemic Update and our weekly wastewater update. If I didn't get to your city, your state, I will be doing some wastewater sites throughout the week. Apologies. If we sat here and did every wastewater site on the maps, we would be here for hours upon hours, and no one wants to sit for hours through that. Alrighty folks, that does it for today's update. If you like today's video, give it a thumbs up. You want to see more content like this, subscribe to my channel down below. And of course, share these videos with anyone you know. If you have a comment on anything I said today, maybe it's something that I didn't add, maybe it's something I got wrong, maybe you just have something you want to say or just want to say hello, leave a comment down below. I will see you all again next time. Until I see you again next time, which will be tomorrow, stay safe everyone, and have a fantastic Sunday afternoon. Thanks for watching.